MADLORE is a series of short audio stories based on the MAD.org history within the Star Citizen universe. Frozen Stars, Episode 2. Chapter 6. As the chamber fell silent after the intense firefight, Captain Alex, Jake, and Connor took a moment to catch their breaths, their hearts still pounding with adrenaline. They exchanged glances, their eyes reflecting a mixture of relief and stress. The victory over the drug runners could not be celebrated yet. They knew they had to press on to complete their mission. Connor's injuries, though, were becoming harder to ignore. He winced as he shifted his weight, trying to hide the pain from his companions. But Captain Alex noticed and placed a reassuring hand on Connor's shoulder.
Connor, you fought bravely back there, but we can't ignore your injuries any longer. We need to get you some medical attention,
Captain Alex said firmly. Connor tried to protest, but the pain was too much to bear. He nodded, his voice strained.
You're right, Captain, but we can't lose sight of the mission. Those drug runners won't stop, and we can't let them escape.
Jake stepped forward, his gaze steady.
We won't leave you alone, Connor. We'll find a way to finish this together.
Captain Alex motioned for the team to find a safe spot to examine Connor's injuries. They carefully propped him against a wall. Captain Alex activated his MobiGlass and accessed a medical database app. He quickly ran a medical scan over Connor's injury, and a holographic display projected from his MobiGlass, showing a detailed image of the wound. He carefully examined Connor's wound, his brow furrowed with concern. After brief exchange with Jake, Captain Alex pulled out a med pen and a med gun from his backpack, both standard-issue medical equipment for their missions.
Connor, this is going to sting a bit, but it's necessary. Jake, hold him down,
Captain Alex said, preparing the med gun.
This will help stabilize your injury and reduce the pain.
Connor nodded, bracing himself as Captain Alex administered a dose of stims through the med gun. Jake holding Connor steady, the stims immediately took effect, numbing the pain and providing him with some relief. Jake handed over a med patch, specifically enhanced with triage nanites, to help expedite Connor's healing process.
Apply this med patch to the wound, Connor. The triage nanites will work their magic and promote faster tissue regeneration.
Connor followed Jake's instructions, applying the med patch to his wound. He felt a surge of warmth as the triage nanites got to work.
The med patch will stabilize you for now, but we still need to be cautious,
Captain Alex said, scanning the area to ensure they were safe for the moment.
Once we're out of this mess, we'll find a proper medical facility to get you fully patched up.
Connor nodded, feeling grateful for his teammates' support and the meds they had at their disposal. Despite the pain still lingering in his leg and side, he knew he could manage well enough to press on. The team knew that they couldn't afford any more losses. They had witnessed the severity of the drug runners' operation, with larger quantities of illegal drugs than they had anticipated. The group they had faced so far seemed more organized and formidable than just a bunch of drug smugglers. Chapter 7. As the team continued their mission through the drug bunker, the question of why they couldn't provide the same medical attention to Mike weighed heavily on Jake's mind. Lieutenant Jake let out a heavy sigh, his expression burdened with grief and regret.
Mike's situation was different,
he thought to himself.
When he got injured, we were in the midst of a chaotic firefight. The enemy was relentless, and we couldn't risk staying in one place for too long. We had to keep moving to avoid getting overwhelmed. But we could have saved him if only...
Lost in his thoughts, Jake was walking down a dimly lit corridor when he was suddenly interrupted by one of his team members.
Hey, Lieutenant, wait up!
Jake turned to see Connor hurrying to catch up with him, concern etched on his face.
What's going on, Connor?
Jake asked, trying to mask the weight of his thoughts. Connor looked slightly out of breath as he approached.
We're heading in the wrong direction,
he said, pointing back the way they came.
Alex and I noticed we took a wrong turn earlier. The path should be this way.
Jake nodded, grateful for the interruption that pulled him out of his contemplation.
Thanks for catching that, Connor. Let's get back on track.
They turned around, retracing their steps to the correct corridor. As they continued their path back through the bunker, Jake made a silent promise to himself and to Mike's memory. He would do everything in his power to ensure his team's safety and success, no matter the odds. Lieutenant Jake and Connor managed to find Captain Alex, who was examining the various pathways ahead. Alex turned to them with a confident smile.
I think I found the right path,
Alex said, pointing towards a dimly lit corridor.
There's an elevator up ahead that should take us to the level below.
Connor let out a sigh of relief.
Great job, Captain. I was getting worried we were wandering in circles.
Jake nodded in agreement.
We can't afford to waste any more time. Let's move quickly and stay alert.
With their spirits lifted by the prospect of progress, the 3 team members advanced towards the elevator. The tension in the air was palpable as the team continued down the dimly lit corridor. A sense of foreboding hung in the air. The flickering lights cast eerie shadows on the grimy industrial walls, reminiscent of the rundown and shady atmosphere. The walls were adorned with graffiti and strange symbols, giving the place an unsettling aura. Their footsteps echoed ominously in the narrow passage, creating an eerie symphony that sent shivers down their spines. The distant sound of dripping water only added to the chilling ambience. The air was thick with an acrid smell, a mix of stale air and something else they couldn't quite identify. Captain Alex took the lead, his energy rifle held firmly in hand, as they cautiously made their way closer to the elevator. Each step seemed to draw them deeper into the unknown, and the feeling of being watched sent prickles of unease down their necks. Connor gripped his energy pistol tighter, his senses on high alert. Jake, ever the vigilant soldier, scanned their surroundings with trained eyes.
"Keep your guard up, guys,"
he whispered, his voice barely audible above the distant hum of machinery.
"We can't let our guard down now."
As they approached the elevator, the sense of anticipation and danger intensified. The doors stood before them like a portal to the unknown, and each team member shared a look of determination mixed with apprehension. With their hearts pounding, they stood in front of the elevator, ready to descend to whatever awaited them below. The silence was deafening, and the tension in the air was suffocating. They knew that whatever they were about to face, there was no turning back now. The mission had to be completed, no matter the cost. Captain Alex took a deep breath, his eyes locked on the ominous elevator doors.
All right, everyone, be prepared for anything. This could be our last chance to turn back.
But neither Connor nor Jake faltered. They were united in their resolve to see this mission through, no matter the dangers that lay ahead. With a shared nod, they stepped into the elevator, the doors sliding shut behind them, sealing their fate as they descended into the depths of the drug bunker. Chapter 8. As the elevator descended into the depths of the drug bunker, the team members couldn't help but exchange puzzled glances. The sense of confinement within the dimly lit elevator seemed to amplify the weight of their thoughts. Connor spoke up first, his voice breaking the silence.
"Have you guys noticed how much more drugs there are in this bunker than we expected? This operation seems way bigger than what we were briefed on."
Captain Alex nodded in agreement.
You're right, Connor. It's as if they're stockpiling illegal substances here. This isn't just a small-time drug smuggling operation. It's something much more significant.
Lieutenant Jake added.
"And the number of enemies we've encountered so far is unusually high. It's like they were ready for us. It doesn't feel like a typical drug runner's response."
Connor furrowed his brow.
Exactly. And why weren't the UE forces involved in taking down an operation of this scale?
Captain Alex leaned against the elevator wall, crossing his arms.
That's what bothers me, too. The UE would usually handle something of this magnitude. It's strange that they haven't stepped in.
Instead, this job was posted on the freelancer job boards. Why keep it open to us? We're good at what we do, but this seems like a task that requires a more significant military response.
Agreed.
Alex stated firmly.
There are too many unknowns right now. Let's focus on what's in front of us and take this step by step. See if we can find some intel down there. We need to be ready for anything that comes our way. Let's take a moment to prepare ourselves before we move forward. We don't know what we'll face next.
Copy
that.
They said in unison. Connor began to check their equipment. He pulled out his energy pistol, a sleek and reliable sidearm designed for precise shots. Next to him, Jake was inspecting his energy shotgun, a formidable weapon with widespread firepower that was perfect for close encounters. Captain Alex took a moment to adjust his energy rifle, a versatile and accurate weapon that would prove invaluable in the coming fight. He double-checked his armor, ensuring it was secure and offering maximum protection. Jake also handed each of them a few grenades.
"Got these little babies. Looted these off some of the drug runners earlier. Keep them ready."
Connor's eyes widened in surprise, looking at Jake with a mix of surprise and concern.
"Let's hope those things don't end up blowing us to bits,"
he said, a faint smirk playing on his lips. Geared up and ready, the team exchanged looks, nodding in agreement. They knew they were walking into the unknown, but they were prepared to face whatever challenges awaited them.
We stick together.
Captain Alex reminded them, his voice firm.
No matter what happens, we watch each other's backs.
Chapter 9. The elevator reached its destination. The doors slid open, revealing the team's entry into a chilling and ominously dark final hallway. As they cautiously stepped out, the cold darkness seemed to engulf them, a stark contrast to the confined space of the elevator. The air was heavy with tension, and each step forward brought them deeper into the unknown, into the void. They pressed on. They moved cautiously forward. The weight of their mission bore down on them, each step a reminder of the dangers they faced. Connor's wound had been stabilized thanks to Alex and Jake, but the pain still lingered, a constant reminder of the battle they had endured. He gritted his teeth, pushing through the discomfort, knowing that they couldn't afford to slow down. Captain Alex led the way, his energy rifle at the ready, scanning their surroundings for any signs of danger. Lieutenant Jake followed closely behind, his energy shotgun in hand, his senses heightened, ready to react to any threat that might emerge. As they pressed on, the passageway seemed to stretch on endlessly, and the team couldn't shake the feeling that they were being led deeper into the heart of darkness. The drug runners' operation was proving to be more extensive and sinister than they had anticipated. Connor's mind was abuzz with thoughts, the pieces of the puzzle not quite fitting together. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was something they were missing, something hidden in the shadows. As they rounded the corner, they found themselves facing a heavily fortified door.
This looks important,
Connor whispered, eyeing the door warily. Alex nodded.
Let's proceed with caution.
Just then, the sound of the elevator ascending back up echoed down the hallway.
We have to get through this door quickly,
Captain Alex said, his voice concerned yet resolute.
We don't have time to waste.
Connor immediately went to work on the door's control panel, taking out a small handheld device known as a crypto key. This portable chip was specifically designed for hacking a variety of electronic computer systems, including highly secure ones like the door's control system. With practiced skill, he inserted the key into the slot, initiating the hacking process. The holographic interface flickered as the crypto key established a connection with the door's security system. The team held their breath, knowing that the success of their mission depended on Connor's hacking abilities. The tension in the air was palpable as they anxiously waited for the door to respond to the hacking attempt. As seconds ticked by, each moment felt like an eternity. The sound of the elevator going back up echoed in the corridor, putting them on a tight time crunch. Their hearts pounded with the urgency of the situation. They knew there was no other way forward, and time was not on their side. Knowing that they had to gain access to whatever lay beyond the heavily fortified door before whoever was coming down from the elevator arrived.
Come on, Connor, you've got this.
Jake encouraged, glancing back at the elevator anxiously.
I'm trying.
Connor replied, his focus unwavering as he continued to work on the hack. Beads of sweat formed on his forehead as he felt the pressure mounting. Finally, a soft beep signaled success. The door's control panel displayed a green light, and the heavy metal door began to creak open. Connor couldn't resist a triumphant remark.
Ha! Got it open!
Captain Alex smirked.
Great work.
He gave the young freelancer a playful pat on the back before leading the way into the small room. Inside, the team was met with an unexpected sight. 4 drug runners, all donned in lab coats, were busy with their tasks, oblivious to the intruders. Captain Alex's eyes narrowed, a focused glint in his gaze. He took the lead and silently signaled to the others to follow. Alex moved like a force of nature, a seasoned warrior with a lethal grace that belied his 6'3" frame. His combat experience and training shone through as he engaged the drug runners. With astonishing speed and precision, he closed the distance in a blur, his movements a dance of calculated strikes. The first drug runner never saw it coming as Alex's powerful fist connected with his jaw. The force of the blow sent the assailant crashing to the ground, out cold before he even hit the floor. In the blink of an eye, Alex pivoted, a whirlwind of motion, and his other hand found its mark on the second drug runner's gut. The man gasped for breath, collapsing under the impact of Alex's punch. The room seemed to slow down for a moment as the other drug runners looked on in shock at their fallen comrades. The sheer strength and speed with which Alex had taken down 2 of their own left them momentarily frozen in fear. But there was no time for hesitation. As the drug runners began to recover from their shock, Jake sprang into action, his energy shotgun roaring to life. A well-aimed shot sent another assailant sprawling to the ground. The room echoed with the sharp report of gunfire. Connor leveled his energy pistol at the last remaining drug runner.
Stay right where you are if you don't want to end up like your friends.
The man's eyes darted from his fallen comrades to the determined faces of the team surrounding him.
Start talking. We want answers.
The drug runner swallowed hard, his bravado fading in the face of Connor's unwavering stare.
I don't know anything. We were just following orders, I swear.
Jake slowly approached the drug runner, raising his weapon at the drug runner's head. The drug runner hesitated.
I'm just a doctor. We were taken here to this place.
glancing nervously at the bodies of his comrades.
I don't know their names. They kept everything compartmentalized. Please, I have a family.
Chapter 10.
Enough with the games.
Jake insisted, his voice firm yet composed.
We know there's something more than some smack being slung around. What's really going on?
His eyes quickly surveyed the room, the weight of the situation pressing upon him. In this tense moment, Jake took a step closer, his shotgun still held firmly. The doctor's fear was palpable, and his trembling only intensified as he tried to gather the courage to speak.
My name is Arnold Siberius. I'm a researcher at Microtech Corp.
Fear evident in his eyes.
I, along with many other doctors, were taken here in secrecy. I only know what I was tasked with.
Suddenly, the heavy metal door opened. More men from the drug runner team had arrived, their presence immediately igniting a sense of urgency and danger. The room erupted into chaos once again, the tension escalating to new heights. Captain Alex's combat instincts kicked in, and he swiftly moved to position himself strategically in the room, ready to engage the new threats. Seizing the opportunity amidst the chaos, Dr. Siberius turned and bolted towards another door that led down into a catwalk that hung over the chamber below. Alex knew they couldn't afford to let him escape, not when he might hold vital information in the people behind it. With a nod to his team, he pursued the fleeing man. Meanwhile, Connor and Jake swiftly engaged the new arrivals, their adrenaline surging as they leaped for cover behind a nearby desk. The room echoed with the sharp report of gunfire and the hum of energy weapons, filling the air with tension and urgency.
We need to buy Alex time.
Jake called out, his voice resolute despite the chaos and danger surrounding them.
Copy that!
Connor replied, his energy pistol poised and ready, as he provided covering fire alongside Jake. Their training and camaraderie were evident in their synchronized movements, each knowing they could rely on the other. As the drug runners pressed forward, Connor and Jake exchanged glances. With steely resolve, they positioned themselves strategically, making every shot count as they returned fire. The odds were stacked against them, but they fought fiercely to keep the enemy at bay. The room seemed to shrink as the firefight intensified. The echoes of bullets rained over them, contributing to the chaotic symphony of combat. Time became a paradox, simultaneously fleeting and unending as they traded gunfire, every passing moment filled with the uncertainty of life and death. Amidst the chaos, the haunting memory of their fallen comrade, Mike's ultimate sacrifice, lingered in their minds, igniting an unyielding resolve to see this mission through to its end.
We can't stay here or we'll be dead.
Jake urgently whispered, seeking whatever cover remained. With adrenaline coursing through his veins, Connor locked eyes with Jake, a silent understanding passing between them. Connor's voice rang out.
Jake, cover me!
With Jake providing suppressing fire, Connor leaped from behind the desk and hurled 2 grenades toward the door where the enemy had entered. The grenades struck with a resounding thunder, unleashing devastation that reverberated through the room. The explosive force tore through the ranks of the drug runners, flinging them like marionettes and ripping apart their fortified positions. A thick shroud of smoke and debris enveloped the area, transforming the battlefield into a dark and turbulent realm as the lights flickered and surrendered to the chaos.
Move now, this is our chance.
Jake's voice boomed. He swiftly lifted Connor from the floor, supporting his injured comrade to his feet. As Connor and Jake rushed through the darkness of the catwalk, their eyes caught glimpses of flickering lights below, revealing a vast, cold chamber. Cryotubes lined the room, housing lifeless bodies preserved in frozen stasis. The sight was haunting, a chilling reminder of the inhumane operations taking place within the drug runner's lair. Connor's injury began to exact its toll, slowing him down. The remaining drug runners closed in, narrowing the gap between them. The pain in his side intensified with every step, and he gritted his teeth, finding it increasingly difficult to maintain his pace. Realizing he couldn't match their pace, he made a quick decision. He reached for the last grenade Jake had given him earlier, knowing they might be their only chance to create a diversion. Before the drug runners could position to fire, with a swift throw, Connor hurled a grenade toward the catwalk they were standing on, overlooking the chamber below. The explosives detonated with a deafening blast, tearing apart the metal structure. The shockwave rippled through the air, and the drug runners on the catwalk were caught in the deadly blast. Their bodies were sent hurtling backward, colliding with the railing before tumbling over the edge and plummeting down into the chamber below. Connor and Jake shielded their faces from the debris, and as the smoke began to clear, they could hear the pained cries of the injured and the groans of the fallen. The catwalk was now a twisted wreck, its metal beams scattered across the chamber floor.
Run, the whole thing is falling.
Jake's voice reverberated, barely audible over the chaos. As the dust settled, Connor's vision blurred, and he struggled to keep up with Jake's urgent pace. His injured side throbbed relentlessly, and every step felt like a struggle against the darkness that threatened to consume them. Connor pushed himself as hard as he could, but he couldn't escape the abyss that surrounded him. The remaining catwalk supports had given out. With a final effort, he tried to keep moving, but his strength gave out, and he stumbled, falling into the unknown darkness below.
Connor!
Jake's voice echoed with fear and desperation, but it was too late. Connor had vanished into the void,